you have been my associate for long years, almost like 45 years. We have joined together in Indian Air Force. You served in Indian Army and I continued in Air Force. And I really would like to say, on the day of joining, there were about 900 students who came into Indian Air Force Training Center, Tambram. And all of us are not known to each other in any way or the other. Incidentally, we were 9 Tamilian people who were part of that show. One being you and one being me and a few others. And none of us know any other language other than Tamil. And in fact, with an exception of Jayvel, because you have been in Sainik school cadet by yourself, so you are very good at your English. But about us, didn't know anything. Maybe we were able to read English, never to speak English. Why? Because English was not our mother tongue. We have never had opportunities to converse in English, even though we have studied all the subjects through English medium. It is just a beginning. Okay, that was in 1971. But today, it is so many years past. And being from Tamil Nadu, we are not promoted to speak in Hindi more and more because the state policies. We have no comments on that. So we are fortunately or unfortunately left with one option, that if you want to communicate to a non-Tamilian or you want to communicate to a established group, you must know English. Anyway, we are all at the level of childhood. So your examinations, your communication skills are going to be English based. You all know basics of English, all right, but that does not result in speaking good English, writing good English. Okay, representing Indian Defence Forces Entrance Examination Coaching Center, Defence Academy, Coimbatore, we have our own style of preparing you to be convergent in English, writing, speaking. How? There are many ways, in which comes first and foremost thing is telling you to practice reading newspapers. Why? Nobody buys newspapers. They're all depending on the electronic media. But we are old timers. But not necessarily an ineffective system. It is the most effective system. Since Jayvel asked me, how do you do that? When the children come to us seeking coaching practices for various level entrances, we tell them first, do you buy newspapers in your house? In general, 80% they say no. I say yes, provided your child wanted to start with us. Is he joining us today? Tomorrow morning buy him a newspaper and ask him to do what we want. A system. It's a wonderful practice to wake up on newspaper. Okay. Why newspaper? Because you get a chance to read. I don't know whether you people know what had happened in the earlier life when we were studying. The teachers and parents told us to see and read passages by word of mouth. Even making sound doesn't matter. When you don't do that, you try to rather read by mind. Many a times your eyes are on the passage, but your mind is not there. But when you practice by word of mouth reading, the mind is there, the eyes are there, and your voice is there, the message going into you. So, in order to establish a chance for you to read, in Tamil there is a beautiful saying, Sithiramum kaipazhakam, Sendamizhum naapazhakam. When you talk more, very funnily they used to say, vaayila vada sudrathu. This is what vaayila vada sudrathu. When you become practiced, what does a parrot do? It repeats what you say. And there are parrots which can really converse with you if they are brilliant, like your children. So we say, start reading newspapers. But we don't say, start reading and leave it like that. I said, start in a systematic way. How? A generalized newspaper. In fact, these days, I've quietly changed my opinion. I tell parents to buy newspaper which is multicolor printed instead of only black and white. I say multicolor printed. For example, Times of India. Lot of colors. Colors are quite attractive. One beautiful thing, there is a species called insectivorous plants. Insectivorous plants are quite attractive. The petals are beautiful, the flowers are beautiful, and also they have a lot of nectar, they have nice fragrance. For what? To attract insects. Because the plants need nutrition. If they are not able to attract insects, insects would not come to them. But when the insects come to them, sit on them, they catch them, they become their prey. Here also, we would like to attract children to the colored printed newspapers with various informations. Okay? Generally, what does a newspaper say? First of all, the name of the newspaper. Okay? And these days, the printing technology has advanced enormously. The letters are very clear. You have a front page. Many people have the habit of reading only front page because the content of the entire newspaper is there in the front page. But then you got to get practiced with the headlines. Headlines of the world, headlines of the state, headlines of the local city, headlines of whatnot, everything. And there are pages dedicated for international pages. There are pages dedicated for finance. There are pages dedicated for sports. And at least a couple of pages dedicated for entertainment, which has, what do you call it as? Cinemas, dramas, and colorful photographs of girls, boys, dresses, amenities. And all is available in the newspaper. So what do you do? What do you do? I say, come on, the moment you get your newspaper, take a notebook. Say you dedicate 30 minutes. Write on the top of the day, write the date and day. You should always have the habit of writing the day with the date. Say for example, today. Today is 26th. But I write differently. I say today is Saturday, that 26th of November. I don't write November, of November. I said November 2023. And I also write the time when I start reading. Okay? And write name of the newspaper. And down I write who is the publisher. And also I tell them, please write the cost of the newspaper. And there comes, the newspapers are published at many places. So, where is it published from? For example, Coimbatore. For example, Chennai. So, we write and get the important information in the headlines of that particular day. Remember, I want you to spend only 30 minutes in the morning. That's all. Okay? Take the first page. See what are the headlines. May not be in the beginning, but slowly you would start developing interest on topics. So, having seen what is the topic of the day, for example, about Supreme Court, talking about many things. You know, Supreme Court being the top body of the country, wherein, they are not interfered by anybody, even the government. They criticize the government's policies, they overrule many of the rulings of the high courts. So there is something like that. So the one which you get attracted, first write the headlines of the day. Okay? And many a times, most attractive, most eye-catching headlines come. For example, there is a World Cup football, FIFA is happening. There were a lot of surprises. Small nations defeated the giants. Argentina was defeated. Likewise, there are so many upsets. And if you are interested in football, you would see that. Likewise, what interests you most, note them. Try to read a couple of lines. If it is new, write on that. And go through everything. On the top page, you will find small tidbits, and on which you get information in the following pages. Okay? And also, when you had finished your front page, in which something would have really caused you a lot of interest, and they would not finish that article in the front page, they will say, refer page number so and so, go to that page. If you want to know more. In which way is it going to help you to improve your English? I'm telling you. There is an article. Okay? You are reading it for the first time. See, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. When you read, many of the words are not known to you at all. New words. Do you think you will go and read your vocabulary? Is it a dictionary or go to your Google? No. But there is a trick. Many a times, such new words have the meanings inbuilt in the following sentences or following paragraphs. It may not give you exact meaning, but it will give a similar meaning. What do you call it in English? Synonyms. So when you start reading by word of mouth, don't worry about your pronunciation immediately. But when you practice, your pronunciation also will improve. You will almost reach the right pronunciation. I don't say fully. So you start reading, and you start reading many things. So you start reading. So you get a better opportunity to read. That is one part. In fact, that is a major part. Why I want you to read an English newspaper. Okay, that is page number 1. And following pages, generally in the following pages, you get a local news, which is very essential. Why? Because you are being exposed to various levels of your entrance examinations. Now I'm going to interview you. I'm going to ask you about you and your surroundings. And I would like to know what happens in your place. How do you know? Only through such agencies. You might rather see the televisions and hear from them, but they don't go into your mind completely, like what you do when you read newspaper. So local news. Okay. There too you find some important messages. You can know about it. Then come to the state. Because the state news would tell you what's happening in the state. There too you will have attractive informations. For example, how the students are being helped with the state. What are the trainings being given to them? Informative. And you need not to worry about trying to find out from somebody else. But you have a newspaper, it gives you everything. You can go and talk to others. And you get an opportunity to know about the topics. Now when you go for your written test for Russian Indian Military College, they tell you write a passage. Write a passage about the building of the new bridge in Coimbatore. And in the newspaper every day it appears. What is the bridge? Where is it being built? From where to where? What is it going to do? Notwithstanding the present restrictions, it is going to help the traffic. It is going to help reducing the time of travel. It is going to reduce the consumption of the fuel. All interconnected. A patient coming in an ambulance can reach an hospital fast. All the time, a patient who is unwell, for him it is a golden period. Time of illness, time of reaching the hospital. It's called golden period. Reach on time, your life is saved. So such informations are possible only when you get informative messages. Okay, then you come to international page. Many times they call it as global. So in global what happens? You get all the global informations. Suddenly there is no electricity in Kyiv because Russia has bombarded the entire electricity producing factories. Nuclear power plants are shut. The Ukrainian capital is blacked out. You don't get that information anywhere, but you get it here. So you are enriched. You made a note of it in your page. Likewise, you come to another page, which is called editorial. Every newspaper, you have few editors. What do? They are very good in writing. You should always read all the editorials because it is a nicely written English passage. When you read, you get a lot of information. Also the style of English writing. So there are editorials which are very important and you must not miss. Okay, when you finish editorial, you go to a page which is called finance, business. They're all one on the same page. In business and finance, you first get information. Indian as well international. Who bought what? There was a beautiful small message. The water bottle Bisleri, what you get everywhere. It has been in India for a long time. You don't know about the history of that Bisleri. It was manufactured by an Italian company long before in 1969. The water belongs to India, but the factory belonged to Italy. Okay, and he was so special. That bugger, came here, manufactured the bottle here, took our water and marketed the water to us. And it was just costing him 4 lakhs. How much has he sold it today? 6,000 crores. To once again an Indian, who is none other than the Tatas, the James of business people. So that information has been given. And you got a knowledge. I just read it, once in the morning, I'm able to converse it back to you. These reading practices give more of memory chances in your mind. That comes in business. In business comes the various currencies of the world, top currencies of the world from United States, United Kingdom, France, Germany, China, all currencies with the nominations and how we are placed. How much a dollar costing to an Indian rupee? Where do you get it? You get it there in that page. You get to know every day what is the fluctuation. And there is something called bullion. Bullion. That also appears. What is this bullion? Nothing but a precious metal. There are 3 precious metals in the world. What are they? Tell me. Gold, silver, platinum. And how much do they cost internationally? How much do they cost in India? So that keeps giving you information. You know why bullion is very important? Because the finance of a particular nation is always decided about the amount of deposit of those bullions available in the country. That was always marked. So that says about that. Then going to the sports page, whatever the latest tournaments that happens in sports page, it gives you all informations. The one-day internationals being played in New Zealand, FIFA World Cup in Qatar, and whatnot, and how it was being celebrated. And there was an international issue in Qatar when they were building the stadiums. The humanitarian values have been affected. The people who had worked them, they were all being, treated inhumanly. So many countries protected. So there are issues connected with that. That is being spoken. Finally, you come to a page which is absolutely entertainment. To a young boy like you, lot of attracting girls. To many people, cinema, actors. What happened to Samantha? Why is she suffering? What is wrong with her? All informations are available. See, we do not worry about whether it is a good information or a bad information. It is information. And many a times you get culinary specials. All, about your food, what is good for you. And many a times, specialization of medicines come. And many days are marked for international days. And they are being spoken about. What is not spoken in a newspaper? So, these all attract informations. Whatever you felt like, you wrote on them, and few passages which attracted you so much, you have read through them. Finally, you come to the last page. There's a small column which says, who is the editor of this newspaper? Where is it being published? And finally, you will find at all newspapers 4 dots or 4 colors. You know what does it say? Even though there are umpteen colors in the newspaper, these 4 colors, cyan, blue, yellow, magenta, are the only 4 colors with which the newspaper is printed. Like that you can conclude. 30 minutes, most informative thing. I tell you, next day you will wake up early for the newspaper. If you don't read the newspaper, your day does not begin. So this should be a nice conclusion as to how should you read a newspaper, which is very informative, good to improve your English in a big way, and in terms of our approach, being academician and training people for various entrance examination, we think this will greatly help you to improve your written and comprehensive knowledge of English. Thank you.
Now, coming on to what are the books you have to read, it's about basically a child should start reading from class 5 onwards. Small booklets which talks about, if you Alice in Wonderland, Treasure Island, such books should start. It's all very interesting with colorful, like Mr. Baskaran bring it out. A lot of color pages are there. In US and UK, the children, just about 3 to 4 months, the mothers read these books to them. I have seen a child being trained by an American couple. The child was just 3 months. It was just point out the book and they have to bring the book and read it out. So big books. So start reading with the novels. Okay? All the best.